It can only be attributable to human error.
You're entering paranormal.
He meddled in things that you need to learn. He meddled in things. He meddled in things.
Where will we go next? It's a phantom from another time.
No one, Mr. Muller.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
That is one big pile of shit.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex Daikaiju. To my left,
Jasmine with
across from us,
Eli Watson.
and to my left,
Stephen Myers.
and we are
Cryptid
Campfire.
Campfire.
Wow.
What's up, everybody? Today we're doing a little bit of a grab bag episode. It does have an overarching theme. Today we're talking about aliens in pop culture and movies.
Yes, we
So
are.
we've each got a little bit of something that we want to bring to the table. So it is going to be a little random, but it's all under the overarching theme of aliens.
A little random. You got all four of us together in the recording studio.
again,
that's in the
again.
UFO that's traveling through space.
Mm-hmm.
This episode's going to have more tee-hees and ha-has than you know what to do with them. So we're coming at you. So yeah, if you want to set it up, Jasmine.
So yeah, I think I might have mentioned in one of the previous episodes that I genuinely used to be afraid of aliens.
Mhm.
Like, I really thought aliens were going to land in my backyard and attack my family.
It's because you were in that movie.
I was
Yeah,
not.
actually.
I
I'm
was
pretty sure
not.
that was her.
It wasn't
Movie
me.
star.
So the movie that they're referencing, this might seem a little confusing at first because it is
Very.
a very confusing story. But I'll start by saying I had this memory in my head from when I was a kid of seeing some sort of alien found footage movie, which is what made me afraid of aliens actually coming to abduct me.
Mm-hmm.
And there were two specific scenes that kind of were ingrained in my brain. And
Whoa.
I thought that, like, maybe I had watched this on a VHS or maybe I had seen it on TV. I didn't really know. And so I asked my family, I asked my mom and my dad, I was like, do you remember what that alien movie was? I think we had it on VHS. My dad called it the McPherson tape. And so I Googled it and I did a little bit of research, and basically
She found it.
Whoa.
kind
it's
of.
real. It's
So,
all real.
it is confusing because basically there's two movies that we're talking about here. There's the original movie, which was called UFO Abduction, and then there was also a remake called Alien Abduction.
And I think it's by the same guy,
It
right?
is by the same guy.
Man, what a cluckhead.
But both movies are referred to as the McPherson tape because there's a lot of history here and a lot of confusion. So I had this image in my mind, these two specific scenes, and I'll tell you what the scenes are in a minute. But I was like, did I dream this? Did I really see this? So we got together. This was a while ago, back when we were doing something else for the podcast. I was talking to the guys about this. And Stefan actually went online and looked for the DVD. I think this was when we were having our meeting
Yeah.
Yeah.
for what we wanted to talk about for this alien segment that we're doing. And Stefan was able to find one listing,
Just one copy.
one copy for
Snatched it
this
up.
movie, UFO Abduction, because I did some Googling for McPherson tapes and found that there were, two titles, the original and the remake. And so we were trying to find the original because that's what I thought I had seen. So we ordered the movie. And tonight, before recording, we all decided to watch the movie together. So we watched, and actually, when we received the movie, both were included. So we had UFO Abduction and we had Alien Abduction.
It's a good deal.
Yeah.
We
for
watched UFO Abduction first because I thought that's what I had seen. And it looked a little familiar, like it seemed like, okay, maybe this is what I watched. But it wasn't that great. And it was very loud because it's, the found footage type of movie where everyone's talking over each other. The camera's really shaky.
I think it dates it at like 1985.
83,
I thought it was 77.
No, he said, whoa.
No.
I thought it was 83.
I thought I read
85.
54.
Whoa. They had color
83.
before.
It's 83.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
10 years prior to the Blair Witch Project, UFO Abduction is one of the first found footage horror movies. It was created to appear as a genuine 1983 home video recording depicting a real alien abduction of a Connecticut family named the McPhersons as they celebrate their relative's 5th birthday.
I don't know if I would say it was a horror movie, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Very liberal
sci-fi
use of that
thriller.
word.
It was horrific for the viewer.
For sure. So the four of us watched this movie tonight, and it was kind of like, I didn't see the scenes that I had in my brain, and
Yeah.
I kept telling the guys, I was like, I remember like an alien in a field with a laser and a cow, and he was cutting the cow open, and I remember this scene in the kitchen where the families all had like burning sensations on the back of their neck, and that didn't happen in this movie. I'm so confused. So that UFO abduction was like an hour long, and we had the second DVD, Alien Abduction, which was the remake that was remade in 1998 with a larger budget and professional actors. So this is kind of where I can say these were manufactured found footage movies. These were not advertised as real at first.
You mean the movie where the guy is a home footage and there's a boom mic that shows up in one scene?
Yeah. So we decided, okay, well, we didn't see what Jasmine was looking for in this movie. Maybe it's in the second one. So we watched Alien Abduction on fast forward mode.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we skimmed through the whole movie, and we played certain parts of it. And lo and behold, we saw the cow, and we saw the family with the burns on the neck. So I was validated and realized I'm not crazy. I really did watch this when I was younger. But I also felt bad because we watched the wrong one first. But when you think about it chronologically, it makes sense. We watched the first one, then we watched the remake. And were you going to say something about...
I think it made it better because we watched the first one, which is like the rough draft of towards a birthday party, and then aliens start showing up, and then the remake of it 10 years later, to where we could kind of skip past all. There's a lot of family drama
Yeah.
in these movies.
There is.
It's like mostly a family drama about the grandma's alcoholism, and then aliens show up.
Yeah.
But it was weird because, like, after we watched UFO Abduction, I was like, am I experiencing, like, a Mandela effect thing? Like, did I imagine this? But then we watched Alien Abduction, and it was all there, and I was like, okay, the dots have been connected, and this makes sense. So this was kind of the earliest memory that I have of watching anything alien related. I'm sure I had probably seen things prior to this. I can't actually remember how old I was when I watched it. I was definitely a child in like elementary school.
That's funny.
Or even before that, I don't know. But the history behind this is kind of confusing. So, and this is why this is why it's so hard to find. So,
why is it so hard to find?
I'm about to tell you.
Oh.
But why?
I'm telling you right now. So, Dean Alioto wrote, directed, and filmed or produced the film through Indie Syndicate Productions for a $6,500 budget. And then they also remade the film in 1998 with a larger budget and professional actors known as Alien Abduction Incident in Lake County.
So if it features professional actors and you're a professional actor, does that mean you were in the film?
No.
Were you the little girl?
No. They're asking this because
Whoa.
the little girl in Alien Abduction does kind of look like me, but it's not me. So growing up, Alioto was a fan of science fiction, and I read a quote from him online that kind of explains where he got the inspiration to make this movie. He says, "When I saw the movie E.T. the Extraterrestrial, I remembered coming home and telling my mother, I'm going to direct. This is what I'm going to do. E.T. the Extraterrestrial makes the screwed up middle child and the tragedy of childhood and family and celebrates it and infuses magic into it. That was when I fully became aware of the magic of the medium. Star Wars was mind-blowing, but E.T. the Extraterrestrial felt real." And he also cites books on alien abductions, including Communion, as influential on his creative direction. So, here's where the confusion comes in and the task that it is to try and find this movie to view. So, they were trying to get distribution deals in 88 and 89, and they took a trip to San Francisco and actually got a distributor, if you can believe it.
Oh,
So,
don't.
the distributor took the film. The distributor's not named. I don't know who the
That's fair.
distributor is.
Yeah.
But
They hid their name in shame.
they took the film and all the artwork and everything, and a couple of months later, before the film got released, the distribution company burned to the ground. It literally caught on
that's
fire.
crazy.
Some think it was set on fire for insurance reasons. But Dean was like,
Most
well,
likely.
that's it. That was my main master copy, all my artwork. Time to move on.
Dude didn't
And
have a spare?
he didn't. But this is where things happen. So confusion ensued because a couple of the preview VHS videos from the distributor had been sent out to mom and pop stores. And this is a quote. Some joker took one of the copies and edited out the credits and passed it around for 5 years in the UFO community as a real thing.
What a joker.
So then
Dude.
the video ends up at the International UFO Congress Convention in Vegas in 1993, where it apparently like blew everyone's minds.
Whoa.
And a lieutenant colonel with 40 years of Air Force intelligence experience claimed it was authentic and the best evidence he had seen.
What was his
So,
name?
Not named. I'm
Oh,
sure.
that's fair.
At least in the, at least in this article, it wasn't named. I'm sure if I did some deeper digging, I might be able to find it.
Colonel Mustard.
But, so the scarcity of the tape, like the inability for a lot of people to see it, and the lack of researchers who had access to it, only fueled the idea that it was real.
Yeah, it's like a
Looms in
real life
legend.
urban legend.
And Dean only found out about it because somebody like. It doesn't really explain how people found him, but he got like a phone call from some like television production company that was asking if he had any involvement in it and if he would want to be able to talk about it. And then there was all this like, oh, he's saying it's fake, but maybe it's real because it's a government cover-up. And there was like a whole bunch of conspiracy with these movies.
So he just decided to make another one?
The article's not really clear on which version of the film was passed on as real.
I mean,
I'm
we can assume
assuming-
the first,
I'm
right?
assuming the 80s one, yeah.
Yeah.
Just because...
You said the other one came out in 98?
Yes.
So it would have to be the
Is that
first
what
one,
I
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
They-
true.
they
Plus,
gotta-
I feel like that one's a little bit more believable.
It's a little more like...
Because there's no like cut scenes of like government officials.
Yeah, it's real minimalist. It's just a group of like 6 people in
Yeah.
like a shack.
It's just like a one take essentially, right?
Yeah.
They just
And
keep
yeah.
the camera rolling
It's
the whole
a
time.
remake of Alfred Hitchcock's Rope.
Yeah, exactly.
A little
Uh,
classier though.
Yeah, it makes sense too because of the timeline. If it was, if it was
They
at
got
the
a copy of Alien Abduction from the future sent back.
yeah, so if the convention was in '93 and the remake was in '98, then obviously it was the first one that got passed around as real.
Mm.
So it's such an odd occurrence in the realm of found footage and alien movies, because like here I am like, yeah, I saw this alien movie and like I'm having trouble finding it. There's only one copy of it on like available online. Like, did I imagine
Yeah,
this?
they're like on like somebody burned it to a disc, like a VHS rip. They just
Thank
burned it to a
you,
disc.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What did there was a note in it too? It said
Yeah, I don't
something
have
about
it with me.
No.
It was something about like...
It's in our vlog.
Yeah.
They
It is
got
in
it
our
from
vlog.
a real estate sale or something.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
somebody died and the videos were in like an estate sale.
Yeah.
So it's real sketch,
And now
but
it's in our hands.
Ooh,
It
it's
is
in
in
the
our
Cryptid
hands.
Campfire Museum, baby.
yeah. So UFO abduction was the first one. Alien abduction is the one that I apparently watched when I was a kid because there's the cow scene and
Yeah,
the neck
and you were
scene.
in it too.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
not in
Don't
the
forget
movie.
that. You can't just pass over
But you
that.
know, you mentioned it's one of the earliest memories you have of watching something like this.
Yeah.
My first memory of watching anything like this was a scene where a little boy was in his bedroom and all his toys start coming to life. And he walks downstairs and there's a light he sees through the kitchen door. And he opens it up and there's just this big light there. What is it? It's Close
Close
Encounters
Encounters.
of the Third Kind.
Whoa.
And
Hurricane
it
Heinrich
freaked me
himself.
out.
Yeah.
It freaked me out so much. I didn't watch it for years. And then I watched it when I was maybe like 13, 14. And I was like, yeah, that movie sucks.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know, which is crazy because it's like one of my favorite movies now.
Yeah.
I just think it's a masterpiece.
It's funny, like when you go back and like as a kid you're like, this is the scariest thing I've ever seen. And as a teenager you're like, man, what is this crap?
Right? But
was-
now I'm like drenched in the
It's so
in the
ominous,
horror.
dude.
It's so
Yeah.
scary. His little monkey with the symbols, they
Mhm.
start clapping, you're like, dude, that's freaky.
Never look at mashed potatoes the same way again.
Right? But I won't talk too much about this because I did talk about this in Project Blue Book
Oh.
Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Hynek J. Allen Hynek makes a cameo in Close Encounters of the Third
Mhm.
Kind. I guess I will. There's a couple of behind-the-scenes things that I know about Close Encounters.
Yeah.
Is that it came out in 1977,
Yes.
which is the same year that
Suspiria
Star
came out?
Wars.
Oh, okay.
Whoa. Little movie. I don't know if you guys heard of it. It was kind of a big deal at the time, but it didn't really go anywhere. Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars came out that year, and John Williams did the score for both films. And Steven Spielberg actually heard the score for Star Wars first
Yeah.
and was like, he said he got scared because he was worried that John Williams had given all of his creative energy to George Lucas.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Could you imagine it if he switched the scores and the Star Wars?
The kid opens the door.
Da, 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 da. And then just like you watch Star Wars and it's just got like atmosphere. You're like, what is happening?
That would be such a wild story.
We
We'll
should
have to do it
re-edit the
sometime.
movies to where they have different scores.
And they also, I think George Lucas and Steven Spielberg are friends because they teamed up.
I would hope
Wait,
so.
what?
Yeah, well, in case anyone
Nah.
didn't know, they teamed up to make Indiana Jones.
And the Crystal Skull. First time they
Well,
met.
all of them. They did all of them together. But I think Spielberg and George Lucas switched a percentage of their proceeds
Mhm.
for each movie. I think it was like 10% or something, and like of the revenue they would generate from box office, because George Lucas thought Close Encounters was gonna beat Star Wars at the box office.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
Spielberg thought the other way around, and you
Lo and
know,
behold.
Spielberg was low key the winner because he got like almost $1 million from it.
Yeah.
Just from that tiny little percentage that he got from switching with George Lucas.
Dreams
Crazy.
happen if you make
Imagine if Close Encounters had been the one.
them.
We just get 7 Close Encounters.
Close
movies.
Encounters and
8, 9.
it's just like the cinematic universe of Close Encounters.
You could
Imagine.
you could do one for each of the scales. That's like 9 movies, right?
And then you figure all the EU that would come out, all the books and comics and Star Wars. Like, nobody cares about Star Wars. It's just like one movie that came out. They're like, it's okay.
Yeah.
But Close Encounters, you got books, you got comics, expanding the story, the adventures of
Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss in space.
Good lord.
That would be pretty wild. He's
That
like a
would be
Han
wild.
Solo type character, punching aliens, drinking alien beer.
My favorite alien movie is Men in Black.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a
Ooh,
good one.
it's a classic.
I
Sugar.
when my
Oh.
when
Sorry.
when my brother was born, I don't know the story behind this or why this was happening, but when I went to go meet my baby brother for the first time, I was wearing a Men in Black uniform. Like, little Jasmine was wearing like black slacks, a white button up, and a tie, and
Whoa.
like sunglasses.
Interesting.
And there's pictures of me with my infant newborn brother, and I'm like in a Men in Black outfit.
Sweet.
And I also had my dad had made me an MIB identification card,
Oh,
which
sick.
is
Whoa.
totally like the opposite of what would happen in the actual movie. Because when you're a man
Black,
in
they take
black,
away your
they take
identity.
away your identity and like erase your fingerprints and everything like
You would
that.
have been Agent J.
I would have.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is
Jasmine-
that why they call him Agent J?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jasmine
it's all about me, guys. What you didn't know
Whoa.
is that all alien movies are actually based upon my life.
Pretty
I had a
crazy.
working
Whoa.
theory, but it just got proven.
It's all
So
me.
you're responsible for letting your entire family get abducted?
Yep.
Whoa.
I am an alien.
Oh.
Yeah.
And your
so-
real last name is McPherson?
Whoa. Or
Maybe.
McPherson, depending on
McPherson.
which sequel you're
McPherson.
looking at. Men in Black's awesome. I remember that movie came out. I was obsessed with Mikey,
Mhm.
the alien in the opening,
Yeah.
and I actually had a toy of him. That like it was a standee toy, and if you press the button on his back, he exploded.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember getting that for Christmas, and just like I still have it too. I found it the other day in the old box, and I'm just like, Mikey's a cool design for an
It is.
alien,
It is.
especially because he's got the guy's head on a stick.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like Men in Black was pretty dope, and the second one I think's pretty good. Third one's pretty good too.
Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah, I
good.
haven't
First
seen
one's,
the- I haven't
first
seen the
one's
new
got to be
one.
the best, though.
Yeah.
For sure. Since you brought up designs for an alien, did you guys do any research about like how the designs of aliens in movies and television came about?
No, but I know this, that the design for the UFOs in Close Encounters and the designs of the UFOs in E.T. is actually done by the same guy.
Yeah.
Which is why they look so similar.
They got the
Which
cool
is why,
lights and stuff.
For a while, I had a theory that it was a connected universe. And they connected to Predator, and it connected to Die Hard. I connected everything.
Yeah?
No, it's not
true.
good.
It's all true.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
anyways, Jazz.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, well, talking about connected universes, Terminator and Predator.
Yeah,
because
that's the theory.
At the end of Terminator, Duke gets carried out, of the jungle after finding the Predator. A fledgling company called Skynet conducts him to be a contractor for security, but they secretly download his every features and stuff, and they put it in the T800s that come out, and that's why they look like Dutch. So Skynet bought Dutch after he killed the Predator.
I didn't do a whole lot of research on this, but when we had talked about what topics we wanted to do for this episode, there was talks about how aliens have been portrayed in film over the years. And I watched a really cool video on YouTube by Vox that talks about why we imagine aliens the way we do. Like if someone says the word alien, whatever pops into your mind is based off of what we've heard and seen from other people's stories, books, films, TV, etc., etc. So we're usually thinking about the product of someone else's imagination. And the first movie that documented space travel was A Trip to the Moon by George Méliès in 1902.
I watched this actually.
The crazy French film, right? Where they
Yeah.
shoot the rocket in the moon's eye.
It's so sick.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick. So the aliens in it look a lot like humans because they were.
Yeah.
They
got a
also
budget for that.
puffed and disappeared.
Ooh.
So while
Puff the
their
stuff.
costumes were ambitious at the time, their form was still familiar because they were obviously human due to the practicality of needing someone to be able to actually play the role, that early in filmmaking. But we actually don't have any reason to believe that real aliens would have the form of a human being at all.
Did you say what year that was?
1908?
1902.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's
1902.
Very early.
So,
that was
like one of the
color
first
was
ones,
invented.
They have a colorized
I'm
version,
sorry.
though, which is cool.
Ooh.
Can I just make a quick note? George Méliès is kind of responsible for, a lot of special effects. He was really the pioneer of that because he was really doing a lot of cool, like I said, the people... sometimes when they're on the moon, they hit the aliens
and
they
just blow up.
They blow up,
Disappear.
which is like, a match cut.
Yeah.
But they were doing that in 1902.
Yeah.
And people were
And it
just
doesn't
like,
look bad.
whoa!
No, it looks really
that
good.
guy just blew it up.
But anyway.
and I think you can find that on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's pretty
No,
easily accessible.
It used to be on Netflix, but it's on Prime now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can always find the images. It's like a guy.
Yeah.
It's a face. It's a moon with the guy's face and has a rocket sticking out of his eye, which is pretty cool too.
Yeah, and that's called A Trip to the Moon again, in case anybody didn't catch that.
Those
at the
aliens
beginning.
in that movie, they look like the aliens from Land of the Lost.
Yeah.
And then the remake.
The Slee Slick.
Yeah. I forget what they're called. There's a name for the actual aliens
don't
in the Trip to the Moon, but I forget what they're called.
Illuminates, maybe.
Maybe.
Because that's from H.G. Wells. There's a race of people that live on the moon called Illuminates.
Maybe.
So this whole idea of imagining aliens with relatable features, like of a human, kind of feeds into the popular theme of the human-alien relationship that's often seen in science fiction. So there's a ton of alien sci-fi movies, and they range from hostile and the aliens are attacking to we are hostile at first, but then we form a relationship, and the aliens aren't the bad guys, they're just another species, whatever. So it often leads to some sort of revelation or personal connection. So I listened to an interview with Charlie Henley, who's an Oscar-nominated visual effects supervisor who worked on Ridley Scott's Alien franchise.
Whoa.
And he was talking about the challenge of making aliens for film, and that if the creature doesn't follow laws the audience can recognize, it's hard to sell it as something real and tangible. So the alien that you design has to be something totally new but still make sense visually. And so... because if it's too weird, people are going to be like, what is that?
They talk about that a lot in Star Wars as well, because there's so many alien designs. Yeah.
And people are just like, that's so alien looking to me. It can't be an alien.
Exactly.
Looks like my sister.
For a lot of inspiration, it comes from nature. For example, The goblin shark, which is a real creature
yeah.
of the sea,
Freaky.
was used as an inspiration for the neomorph in the Alien franchise. And I saw a side by side of what the goblin shark looks like, and then what that
'Cause
alien.
they can shoot the jaws
the jaws
out.
come out.
Mhm.
And then they also mentioned in the movie Arrival, talking about the ink squirting that's similar to squids. Like,
Yeah. The
that's-
heptapods.
Yeah. And then even freaking Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy, he's a tree. That's something
Yeah.
that people can relate to.
He's an ent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because you figure you go back through history and the very first trip to the moon, so they're like, oh, here's what aliens look like on screen. Because before that, you figure you have H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, to where the aliens are just like squids, like big old squids that come out of pods, and they have the giant machines. But when film came out, they're like, well, we ain't got time and budget for that.
Yeah,
So
for
you
like
look-
tentacles and everything.
Yeah, they're like, we ain't got time. So, you look at the 50s and it's always just a guy in a suit. Or sometimes it's just a human the alien shows up like the day the Earth stopped, to where the UFO lands on the White House. And they're like, what's going to come out? What horrible, unspeakable creature is going to come? And it's a guy in a suit and he's like, hey, everyone, listen, I want to tell you about, how bad nuclear weapons are. And they shoot him. They're like, we don't want to hear none of that, sir.
Yeah.
And then Gort comes out and he's just a big giant robot man.
Yeah.
And it's just like, Gort, kill everything.
Dang.
And then they remade it with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and Keanu Reeves, they're like, that's an alien. He's just like, whoa.
Just a perfect specimen.
And so, like, the 50s, they're just like, yeah, they're... Or, the Thing from Another World, to where it just looks like a guy who's just got, like, spikes on his hand. He's got, like, a big forehead. So all the aliens just look like humans.
Yeah.
And then and then it looks like that for a while, and then you get to, like, the crazy 70s, and you get Ridley Scott's Alien comes out, and it's just like, it's a guy in a suit. But it don't look like no guy in a suit.
Mm-hmm.
Scary.
And I think that kicked off because in the 80s, you have all the horror movies with aliens, and they're all, like,
Yeah, like the
practical effects.
Yeah, body horror is gonna
Body
be big.
horror, and then you look
The
at
Thing.
the 80s thing to where it's
yeah.
all practical, and there's, like, not one thing that looks like a human. It's all practical. Or you even have Killer Clowns from Outer Space, to where they're just full on.
Yeah, when did Scanners come out?
83, 84, I
Okay.
think. Yeah,
'Cause the-
Scanners is good.
Yeah, the practical effects in that are really cool too.
But then you get that twist, and then the 90s hits, and it's all hands on deck. 'Cause you get, like, Men in Black.
Mm-hmm.
That series has so many different aliens and stuff that
Even
they
the return
start
of Star
drifting
Wars.
away from being more human as we get more chances to be like, well, we've already seen people in suits, like, slocking
Like,
around.
Speaking of War of the Worlds, which is a story that's been adapted multiple times in
Yeah.
popular culture, you have Spielberg's, which came out in the early 2000s,
Mhm.
and with Tom Cruise, I think it's 2005. But
Yes.
they're like these, like, tri-legged, they're like tripod-like,
Yeah.
They're not very humanoid, I guess,
Mhm.
but,
They
they
have
still
legs.
they have legs, they have a face,
Did you
But
ever, did you ever see Scary Movie 4?
no.
Come.
Yeah, instead of tripods, it's iPods. It's
Oh,
big
no.
giant iPods, and then they turn from iPod to dipod, and they start shooting lasers at
That's
people.
funny.
That's the best joke of the whole movie.
Yeah, it's not that great.
Going back to what you said about, aliens looking human
Mhm.
and a lot of, like, literally looking like humans, I think one of the most relatable and humanish aliens that you can see on TV today is Doctor Who.
Yeah.
The Doctor. I freaking love that show.
Is
Timey
he
wimey
a-
space stuff.
This show.
You're a Whovian?
I am.
Oh.
Oh.
I am a Whovian.
So the truth comes
Oh
out.
10
no, we're switching from Cryptid Campfire to Doctor Who Campfire.
Well, here's the thing. Doctor Who, man, there's a lot to unpack in Doctor Who. Doctor Who has its own podcasts that exist in this
Yeah.
world.
a good show.
I mean, its freaking Wikipedia page cites over 200 sources. Like,
Mhm.
it's intense because the show's been running for over 50 years
Mhm.
on BBC. And its cultural impact is just insane. So I'm going to keep this real brief, but I didn't want to do this episode without mentioning Doctor Who because this show has made me cry so many times. And I'm sure anyone who hears those words knows what the show is. You may not have watched it. You may not know anything about the plot points, but
Yeah.
you know that Doctor Who is a thing that exists. So the BBC program came on air in 1963 and depicts the adventures of a Time Lord called the Doctor, an extraterrestrial being, to all appearances human, from the planet Gallifrey. The Doctor explores the universe in a time-traveling spaceship called the TARDIS, and the Doctor combats a variety of foes while working to save civilizations and help people in need. So Forbes states that the series has gone on for so long because it's, quote, a new take on the fairy tale genre, something that people can picture themselves being a part of. The show examines human existence while still bringing viewers to fantastic, faraway places they never could have imagined. And, I mean...
But somebody did imagine it.
Whoa.
True.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to be his companion?
Yeah,
oh
dude.
my gosh, right?
It'd be so much fun.
Yeah,
Right?
until the Daleks show
Yeah,
up.
until you die.
Exterminate.
And freaking Jodie Whittaker's the Doctor now. We got a female Doctor, which is
Whoa.
crazy.
The Time Lords have two hearts.
They do. They do.
And
But,
also, Peter Cushing played Doctor Who one time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about aliens, there's, I mean, literally the entire series of Doctor Who is aliens. The
Yeah.
Doctor's an alien. He goes to multiple planets.
Have you seen I think they're called Time Angels, or they're Stone Angels?
The Weeping Angels.
Weeping Angels, yeah.
Mhm.
Those
Yeah.
are scary,
Dude.
dude.
They are. If
Oh.
you don't, you got to stay looking at them, otherwise
Yeah.
you die.
The silence is pretty crazy,
Mhm.
too.
Silence
Yep,
is
they're
good.
creepy
Yeah.
too. I saw a meme one time where one of the Silents were on a date, and he was like, "So
Oh
we're
my
meeting
God.
tomorrow at 7, right?"
Oh,
And she was
how
like,
horrible.
"Yeah." And then he turned her,
No.
and she left, and then he got stood up because
Oh
she
my God,
didn't remember him.
that's tragic.
Oh man,
That's horrible.
You guys
It
gotta
is.
watch Doctor Who.
it's
some
so
good stuff, yeah.
good. And
I like Christopher Eccleston too. I think he's a good
Uh-huh.
doc.
my David Tennant, come at me,
Can't
bro.
go wrong with
Uh,
that.
was he?
I have a life-size cardboard cutout of David Tennant at my house in Ohio as the Doctor, and my
Go.
dad scared me with it because he bought it for me and he put it in my room. And I was just coming home from school one day and I walked in and David Tennant's just standing in my room and I was like, oh my gosh! Also, David Tennant came into the movie theater that we used to work at one time, according to one of our previous managers.
Oh, you weren't there?
No, I wasn't there. Were
Bummer.
you?
Whoa.
Were you there, Steph?
I don't think so.
Called him a Time Lord to his face.
But yes, I just had to mention it. But it's relevant still because like we were talking about the way that aliens look. I mean, Matt Smith, David Tennant, they're all literal humans. They
Yeah.
are humans. He's an alien with 2 hearts and like he regenerates. He
Mhm.
doesn't die. But like there's so many alien designs from the Daleks to the Cybermen.
Yeah, I love the
And
Cybermen. They're so cool.
It's like there's lizard people and little like
There's the face of
there's
Mo-
little squishy guys.
yeah, the face
that-
of Mog.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's so much creature design in that show, and
I feel like the silence is like the generic OG like alien face.
Pretty much,
Maybe.
yeah,
Like-
because it's a big bulby head and they have
Yeah.
kind of like the black eyes and
Mhm.
no mouth, right?
That's
Yeah.
the closest one.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
that's the closest you probably get to like a kind of
Yeah.
traditional alien, because everything else in the show is very different, and
Yeah,
they
pretty
take a
wonky.
lot of neat character
Wow.
designs.
that show has made me cry so many times,
good
you
show.
guys.
Gets you in the feels,
When
man.
they regenerate, I'm not gonna quote them because if you haven't watched it, you gotta watch it yourself. But when 10 and 11 go, oof,
Dude, Matt
Oof.
Smith's my favorite. I
ugh.
think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got some good stuff.
When are you guys watching Doctor Who? You guys have literally never mentioned Doctor Who. I've known you guys for years.
Have you never seen it?
I've never seen
Oh,
Doctor
wow.
Who.
Whoa.
And
Well-
you guys have never talked about Doctor Who
I re-
until this moment.
There's-
It's a
I'm
good
like in
show.
complete shock.
I'm
I-
so sorry. We've
I-
kept this from
Yeah.
you.
Because
I
like
feel left out, guys.
We're,
Sorry.
Eli's in the corner.
he's just like, huh, what?
Now you know how I feel in the car all the time when you guys are talking about movies that I haven't seen.
Dang, that hit deep.
I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. But yeah, you should watch it. I recommend. I mean, there's literally 50 years.
Yeah,
worth
you
of
could
the
start
show.
wherever you
But
want.
start wherever
honestly.
you want.
I
I
don't know.
recommend David Tennant. Start with 10.
Well, start
I mean,
with, start with
Christopher
Chris-
Eccleston only has one season,
Yeah,
so you
start
might
with
as well
That's
start
true.
with him.
That's
yeah. Cry Wolf.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Doctor Who.
Jones Donna Noble TARDIS. Anyways.
Well, if we're talking about aliens and places where no man has gone before,
Oh,
we can't leave out Star Trek.
Sure.
And I want to start here
Uh-oh.
because something is really freaking cool.
Okay, go for it.
So, the year's 1966.
Okay.
mm-hmm.
And there's an Air Force pilot who catches a UFO on a blip on his radar. He says, "I'm going in closer," as he nears the UFO. The base loses contact. His airplane disintegrates over some farmland. What does this sound like, guys? It's
Captain Kirk's dad, dude.
It's the
Oh.
Thomas Mantell case
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say
But
that sounds familiar.
in
but...
Star Trek. But instead of him dying in the airplane, he gets beamed aboard the USS Enterprise.
Whoa!
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's the episode.
That's pretty
Whoa.
cool.
They like ended up, they say, in like a time slingshot that shot them back to the year 1966. Kirk even says, he says, if I remember my history correctly, those UFO cases were dismissed as weather balloons and sundogs, explainable things, at least publicly.
Mm.
Whoa!
Uh-oh.
And they think that he was referencing the Condon Committee.
Yeah, that's
So-
wild. That's dope.
So sorry to leave you out just a little bit, Jasmine, but
Hey
I
man, I
haven't
just
seen
did
the
the
Star
same
Trek
to
show.
you.
Star Trek's pretty dope. Got some good stuff in there.
I haven't seen any of the old
Dude,
shows.
the old show's pretty great. Next Generation's got some good stuff in it. The movies are not bad, you know.
I like the old ones or the new ones.
Both.
Yeah, I haven't
But,
seen it. I've seen the new ones.
Wrath of Khan with Macardo Bontabon's fake
His
chest.
huge chest,
He's
dude.
just like, I am Khan.
Huh.
He's just got big fake chest.
I thought it
on.
was real.
Yeah.
I think it is real.
It looks real in some shots, and those shots you just are like, why is he wearing big breasts?
He's a humongous.
Yeah.
His chest is like 2 times the size it should be.
Yeah, dude. Star Trek's awesome. Doctor Who is awesome.
Mhm.
Star Wars is awesome.
It's all good.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you know what? I don't know where you guys want to take the conversation, but I was gonna talk about, Alien by Ridley Scott is interesting. Just the franchise in itself is pretty interesting because the very first Alien is just like they land on the planet. They're like, hey, look at these weird eggs. Thing attached to the guy's face.
John Hurt, right?
John Hurt,
Who
yeah.
also played in Doctor Who.
And Doctor
The
and
War
he was
Doctor.
in Crystal Skull.
he's in
Yeah.
Crystal Skull.
Bruh.
And he replaces his role in Spaceballs as the guy who gets the chest burster come out of his chest because he's just like, oh, not again.
That's funny.
But it pops out and then it turns into the xenomorph. Then they shoot it off into space and save the day. And the cat survives. Jonesy, the
Okay.
cat.
Yeah, that's right.
Jonesy.
Harry
Dean Stanton's cat.
Yeah.
Who's also in Twin Peaks.
Oh yeah.
Which may or may not be about aliens.
What?
We'll never know.
But it's interesting how, because the very first Alien, it's just other than like the egg and the chest burster, you don't really know much about the aliens.
That's what makes them so scary.
Yeah, and then the sequel comes around.
Aliens.
It's like
Alien.
this big action blockbuster.
It's just like,
Game over, man.
game over, man. It's a bug hunt. Come on, you apes. You want to live forever? It's just like, this movie that was really atmospheric and had
No,
like a
yeah.
lot of tension. Bring out the big guns, baby.
Bill Paxton's so funny in that movie.
That movie's awesome, but
Oh,
also
man.
I have a big gripe with it because it ruins the xenomorphs.
It really does.
Because it takes them from being these strange creatures that, probably, have some intelligence, you don't understand them. They're alien. Whoa. And then they're just like, what if they're just big giant termites in space and the queen pops them out? And you're just like, oh, because the queen's awesome. But
James Cameron, why?
James Cameron, why?
Why would you do this to us?
And then Alien 3, I don't know if you guys have seen that
I haven't
one.
seen it yet.
It's
Why
not-
is he still doing it to us?
Did you see Covenant, dude?
Yeah, oh. Well, Ridley Scott goes in the action. He's just like, hey, you guys liked what Cameron did? I can do that too.
Covenant was
Ridley
lame,
Scott,
dude.
no. But it's interesting because in Alien 3, after Alien ends, they
You
crash
talking
land.
about Alien Cubed?
Alien Cube.
Yeah,
They land on a prison planet,
That's
and then
right.
there's a xenomorph and all that.
they
You know,
stylized it that way.
It's David Fincher's film.
Yeah, he's
It's-
disowned it. He says.
Yeah.
Really? He directed that one? I
Yeah.
didn't see
I
it.
think
But
that was like his
he's
first
disowned it.
theatrical movie.
Yeah, he doesn't count it as his first movie now.
Yeah.
Oof.
Bummer.
But
Oof. That hurts.
He said he'd never work with 20th Century Fox again after that movie.
Oof.
yeah.
Oh my lord.
Isn't that crazy?
Why? Did he not get final cut?
Of course not.
No.
okay.
And I think there was a lot of changes as they were making the movie.
Yeah, he'd only directed music videos up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, what were we saying?
But
Alien Cubed.
I was gonna say about Alien Cubed is there was a draft that they had done before the movie got made and stuff, to where it was gonna be, instead of a prison planet, it was gonna be a monastery planet made out of wood, and it was gonna be like a giant wooden planet that had its own atmosphere and a bunch of monks, and then Sigourney Weaver shows up with a xenomorph and they're just like, whoa, all our many space gods, this is crazy. And they had Giger originally come back to redesign the alien.
Okay.
And it was he made it more, it had like more of a lady's face, and it was more like a panther. And it had ports on its head that it would communicate with songs. It would make like sing-songy songs to lure people, and it was going to be more intelligent.
Bum, bum, bum.
And I think he was going to try to bring it back to the original Alien, which was going to be like a more weird, you can't understand it kind of thing. And then they said no.
Wait, did it eat all the wood?
It made a nice house out of it.
Oh, okay.
But I just want to say that I think Alien 3 could have been really cool if it would have been a wooden planet in space run by monks, and it would have had like a sexy alien running around. But yeah, so Alien's a pretty interesting franchise. And then Alien Resurrection came out. That movie's insane.
I haven't seen it.
That movie's wild. And then Prometheus came out, which is
What about AVP?
What about it? That movie's garbage.
What about Requiem, dude?
Even more garbage. Like,
But wait.
Because Alien vs. Predator, I think, came out 2004. I was like 14 when it came out.
What a weird duo, dude. What a combo.
And I was like, this movie is the best. I love that movie when it came out. And then I rewatched it a few years ago, and I was like, what is this? It's so bad. Because it just takes everything that's good about Predator and Alien and throws them out the window.
Yeah, of course, dude. They're just trying to make money.
Dang.
But that's one of your Alien pulp culture check off list for you. So go watch Alien. It's awesome.
They're still making them.
Oh, no.
Do you guys know, this is going to seem so off topic, but I swear it ties in. Would you guys, since we're all into film and TV and stuff like that, like as career interests too, not just like as viewers, would you guys happen to know what the first multicam comedy was to utilize a fourth camera on set?
Mork and Mindy?
Criminal
Yes!
Minds.
It was Mork and Mindy!
Nanu.
I learned this in my
back.
acting class that I just finished up when we were talking about multicam sitcoms. Mork and Mindy was the first sitcom to utilize the fourth camera, the X camera, in order to keep up with Robin Williams and his physical improvisations and being all over the place.
Yeah.
I was pretty intrigued by that. I've never watched an episode, unfortunately. I watched like the first 10 minutes of the pilot earlier today, just to kind of like get an idea for it. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And that show just in general is so wacky. Because do you know how it started? Do you know where it came from?
Happy Days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but do you know how it led from Happy Days? Like, do you know how it got on Happy Days first?
That I don't. I just know that there's an
Yeah.
episode of Happy Days to where they're just like, hey,
Uh-huh.
it's 1950s, we're having a good time, and then Robin Williams comes up and he's like, I'm an alien.
Yeah, so TV and filmmaker Brian Levant, who joined Happy Days as a writer and producer in its 5th season, recalls being in the writer's room one day when series creator Gary Marshall came in and announced that his Star Wars-loving 8-year-old son Scott had suggested to him, let's put a spaceman on Happy Days. So the Happy Days episode My Favorite Orkin aired on February 28th, 1978, starring Robin Williams as Mork, and it just took off. Everybody loved it and like
It's a good
wanted
episode.
a spin-off. So the spin-off aired that same year. It premiered September of 1978, and it became a huge hit for ABC, averaging 55 million to 60 million viewers per week, and lasted 4 seasons. So, yeah, I thought that was just a really cool tie-in because, you know, I've been in my acting class, and we're all interested in film and TV, and we're talking about aliens, and wow, how does this tie together?
Yeah.
Like, when I was doing my research for this episode and, like, thinking about television shows and movies that involve aliens, I was like, oh my gosh, we just talked about Mork and Mindy in my class, and oh my gosh, they're the first TV show to utilize the X camera, and oh my gosh, and just like, I just thought that was so cool.
It's awesome, too, because, like, you know, we all try to be in the entertainment business in some way. Writing, acting, directing, what have you. We all really like entertainment. And, you know, this goes out to everyone out there. If you're writing a script, you're trying to make something, you get writer's block, you don't know what to do, just add a spaceman in it. It worked for Happy Days. Any movie will get better if you just throw a spaceman into it.
Have you seen Third Rock from the Sun?
Yes. With John Lithgow.
John Lithgow, yeah.
And
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, dude.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt and French Stewart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole show
That
about
show's
aliens.
amazing.
Really?
It's just like it's just aliens just being like, we're on Earth and we're trying to be
Yeah.
human, but we're John Lithgow.
Yeah, John
Whoa.
Lithgow. Little baby Joseph Gordon-Levitt with long hair.
Yeah.
Well,
That show's great.
talking about another cool show,
Oh.
long-running show, talking about the X-Files.
Oh,
of
yeah,
course,
yeah, yeah.
how do we not mention the X-Files
Right?
on this episode?
Spooky Mulder.
It's funny because, like, thinking back, it was like, because you figure the FBI throughout movies has always been like the bad guys,
Yeah.
you know? Like you think of like Die Hard, it's just like we're calling the FBI in, don't do it. FBI
Yeah.
shows up and they're like, hey everyone, slap, slap, slap. You know, they start throwing hands, causing problems,
Bad.
and then they get blowed up at the end. And then the 90s comes and they're like, what if the FBI was cool? What if you got your Dale Cooper and your Fox
Yeah,
Mulder in there, you
exactly.
know? And it's just like, because like they came out around the same time, and it's just like, hey, it's kind of cool to be an FBI guy.
Exactly.
But X-Files is so good. Vince
Mhm.
Gilligan, who went on to do Breaking Bad.
He wrote a couple episodes, right?
Yeah.
Aaron Paul's in an episode.
Aaron Paul's in it.
He's in the X-Files?
He's in an episode, yeah.
Jack Black's in an episode too.
What in the world?
That episode's really good too.
I don't think I've gotten that far.
It's about a guy who can control electricity.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Be Kind Rewind?
Ugh, the prequel. But yeah, I don't know what to say about X-Files other than it's really awesome because it was just like, because it took a lot of the ideas of like alien abductions, because a lot of episodes tend to play on certain tropes and stuff. So alien abductions, Men in Black, Greys, you know, everything.
I don't know if you guys saw the return of it.
I did.
I saw a little bit of it, but I know the first episode is about Roswell. It opens up with the Roswell crash, I believe.
For the newest
For like the
The
new
reboot.
season.
Okay.
Or not the reboot, the continuation.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
season 12, season
Yeah,
13.
I think it's season 10.
Yeah.
And it starts off with a flashback to 1947 Roswell, New Mexico crash and like the government cover up of it.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I hate to say it, but that was the first thing I saw of X-Files, and I was like, what is this show?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't know, I feel like I should go back, and I feel like that one, the original is a lot better.
It's
No, yeah, I've heard the new one isn't
it's
that good.
it's okay, but it's X-Files, so I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
They're going
I-
to make more, dude.
I also did not watch a lot of the original series. I obviously knew it existed. I was like, it's another one of those things like, oh, I know
Oh,
what
yeah,
the
and everyone
X-Files
gets scared by the theme song
yeah.
when you're a kid.
Yeah.
That's when you knew things were
It's
getting
true.
serious.
But,
It's like, this is adult
Oh,
content.
Put your face in the couch, dude. Can't watch it.
I did watch the newer
No way.
season, and unfortunately, the only episode I can remember is that really weird one with that goofy alien guy who like rents a hotel room, and he's just like, I don't even remember what the plot was. But the whole time
is it the were-monster?
No, I think he has like scales or something.
He's a guy with a mustache, right? In a wacky suit and a hat.
I can't remember. Was he ever in a hotel room?
Maybe, because there's an episode where it's the newest season or
Let me
the
see if I
one
can find
before.
it
I think
real
it's
quick.
Mulder and Scully meet the were-monster,
Whoa,
and
why?
it's basically like a
Wait, why, though?
prehistoric like lizard man that
Oh,
gets
okay.
bitten by a human.
What?
It
Oh,
turns
yeah,
into
yeah.
a human.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that episode's great. And it's just, what happens if a monster starts acting a human? He's just like, I don't know what I'm feeling. Why do I have to feel the need to wear pants?
Yeah, it was so straight because I think he like didn't he go to like a cell phone store at
Yeah.
one point too?
Yeah, and he's just like, what is this? And they're just
Yeah.
like, it's a cell phone. He's like, I don't know why, but I feel like I need to buy it.
Yeah, I like.
He's just like, I'm a man and I don't know what I am.
It's this super goofy like I was
It's a fun
watching it and I was
episode.
like, what is this? Is this what X-Files always is?
Oh no, X-Files. You know, the intro starts. It's spooky. You're like, oh no. But like a lot of time, it's serious. It has its own mythology. There's standalone episodes, and then there's wacky ones every so often.
Sure.
My favorite one is, my favorite two episodes that are pretty funny is there's one called X-Cops,
Okay.
to where it's basically cops, the show, and they run into Mulder and Scully, as there's like a monster running around like a Los Angeles town,
Oh
like
my.
terrorizing people. So it's shot as cops. So that episode's really good. And there's one called The Postmodern Prometheus, to where it's shot in black and white, and it's a tribute to Frankenstein.
Oh,
very
whoa.
cool.
It's a good episode. And it's basically just like a small town being attacked by like this monster, and there's like a legend about it. And it's called The Great Mutado. That episode, there's a lot of fun episodes.
I know one they do a riff on The Thing.
Yeah, to where they're basically like in.
It's basically The Thing in
Yeah.
45 minutes.
Yeah, that one's pretty good too. That's a good. I think that's season 1. That's a fun one.
Yeah. And I want to bring this up. I just watched the show Project Blue Book,
Yes.
which is obviously about aliens. And someone called it the new X-Files,
Mhm.
and it's pretty much the new X-Files.
Mhm.
I mean, you have Hynek, who's basically Mulder.
Yeah.
You have his Captain Quinn, which is kind of like Ruppelt. Sorry.
Who's like
who's
like Skinner
or Scully.
Oh, okay.
He's
Does he
like
go out with them, or?
Yeah, he goes out with them.
Oh,
So they
okay.
like go out together to investigate these things. Also, Hynek's got his Men in Black contact, just like Mulder does. You know, where he's got it. Like the very first time it happens, I was like, "Wow, this is like the X-Files." Like, so it's just really cool like that.
Yeah.
So also
the effects are good in this show. From
yeah,
what
they
I saw.
are, and it's a pretty fun watch. I recommend.
Justice Alan Hynek back on the big screen one last time.
Stefan, were there any movies that you wanted to bring up that we haven't talked about yet by any chance?
Not really.
Okay.
All right, everyone, good night.
I was trying to give you the segue there, but
Nah, I'm okay. I've seen everything pretty much what we've been talking about.
I mean, there's so much. I'm sure we're going to get comments. Why didn't you talk about this? Or I can't believe you didn't mention this.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
What do you want from us?
There's
Start your
so
own
many.
podcast to talk about alien movies.
There's so many.
We can't forget about the greatest alien movie of ever, Predator.
Thought you were gonna say Space Jam.
I thought
Space
you were gonna say Paul.
Oh, well, Paul's good too.
Oh yeah, Paul. It's really a tribute to all of those Spielberg 80 films.
Yeah.
You know,
but doesn't
80
feel...
Spielberg films? Has he made 80?
No, 80s.
I'm just
Whoa. He's
Maybe,
it's
probably.
a tribute to only 80 out of the 200 he's made.
Yeah, exactly.
But Paul's great. I wager it's Seth Rogen's best work.
Yeah. World's End is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty not bad.
It's a good one. Very underrated in that trilogy, I feel like. You haven't seen it yet, have you? Have you seen it, Jasmine?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Refresh my memory, because I
It's
feel like I've seen
it's
it.
the Simon Pegg, like Nick Frost.
Oh yeah, and
It's
they're doing the beer thing.
Yeah, they do the pub crawl.
Yeah, the beer
pub
run.
crawl,
The
yeah.
pub crawl, that's what it is.
That's a good alien
Only
movie.
at the world's
Totally,
end.
yeah. Or what about This Is the End?
Oh yeah.
That's a really
is that
good
an
one.
alien movie, or is that more like apocalyptic?
That's
That's
like the end of the
apocalyptic, I
world.
feel like.
That one's a pretty good movie. That one's very funny.
Yeah, that one is good.
Yeah.
What else?
I mean, there's a heck ton of movies. I mean, I don't know what you want from us. We just laid out a pretty good watching view. So
I know.
Oh, you mean a watching list?
yeah, watching list.
Watching view?
If you guys like this episode and you watch all these movies and you want more, come back to us and we'll give you a round 2 of alien movies and you.
Yeah. But I think I pretty much covered everything I had anticipated in covering in this episode. Do you guys have anything else?
Not off the top of my head. I mean, we covered the very first alien movie, the movie that features aliens. We
Yeah.
talked about the McPherson tapes that you'd seen.
Yeah,
The UFO alien
crazy.
abduction craziness. I talked about some of our favorite movies, some of our TV shows that have been influenced by pop culture that's been influenced by aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy because people always just miss like aliens. It's like, oh, only crazy people see aliens and UFOs, but it's a big part of our popular culture.
Is.
Exactly.
It totally is. And it's kind of crazy. Like I maybe wasn't gonna mention this because it's so off-brand from everything else that we've been talking about today, but like aliens are even incorporated into like fashion nowadays, like especially with millennials. And I was trying to do research on it and like understand why, because first of all, I'm not a fashion expert or stylist by any means.
What?
I just
Whoa.
I know, shocker, right? I just noticed that like there's so many T-shirts that have like those little green alien faces.
Yeah,
on
we
them,
talked
or,
about the
like,
Lisa Frank
socks.
aliens.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah.
But so I tried to research it a little bit, and I was only able to find one article from a website called Rebel Circus that talked about why aliens are popular in millennial fashion. And the appeal is not just like glitter, neon, and metallics, but literal alien faces on
They're
clothing.
tight.
Like I mentioned.
Yeah.
So
It speaks to their senses of being an outsider.
exactly.
Oh.
Exactly. You're so right, and you don't even realize it. So, in essence, the alien trend is like our millennial homage to our past, present, and future all in one, because it incorporates a lot of trends from the 90s, like the neon and things like that. It also speaks to the present, like,
We need
goal.
disclosure now.
Yeah, like the present goal of,
Naruto run and see them aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
so this article mentions like the occult trend,
Sure.
like occult meaning supernatural, mystical, or magical beliefs, practices, or phenomena, quote, the knowledge of the hidden, because like we're all just trying to live in the present and discover the truth and whatever.
Yeah.
But then also like space and sci-fi is always so futury, so like these alien trends are like bringing together the past, present, and future all at one time, and we're all just trying to figure life out, man, because it's crazy. And yeah.
Just gotta open your third eye, man.
I
that
just thought
simple.
they looked funny.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, aliens just look cool too. It's just
They
No,
do.
like,
look
they-
at Toby, dude.
yeah,
Toby-
party
Toby.
That's
animal.
a weird looking dude.
Yeah.
Doing that intergalactic cake stand.
But we
Dude,
love him.
you know what? No, he's been kind of getting on my nerves though. He's
Yeah?
got a real big head.
Oh. Ah.
Were you planning that joke the whole podcast?
No.
He's been
That's
He's
the
been
start.
sitting on it the whole
he's
time,
been
dude.
saying that joke since the first meeting.
Oh my lord. I don't think Toby was an idea yet.
He was
That's
a collective
because Toby
consciousness.
wasn't an idea. Toby
Just was.
Toby's
Toby.
a living creature.
yeah, Toby is alive.
Toby is like everything, man. Like, dig this.
He's
But-
into fashion.
Yeah.
He's got a good sense of style. Rocking
Yeah.
that Cryptid Campfire t-shirt,
Oh.
which you can purchase for yourself by going to cryptidcampfire.com.
Join the
Yeah.
Melonhead army. Be a Melonhead.
Yeah.
Also, if you pay for the $200 Patreon tier, you get that photo of Jasmine in her Men in Black outfit.
That's a lie.
You
I
get
actually
you get to
texted.
have Jasmine actually shoot you with a Men in Black gun
I
and
te-
vaporize your family's memory of it.
Hit up our Patreon.
I had a what's it called, a neuralizer?
Neuralizer,
I had one
yeah.
of those,
Oh, very
like
cool.
the toy, that popped out and the red light and buttons on the back. I had
Better
that.
find it.
Can you do it to me so then I
Everybody
can listen
nod
to
your
this
head.
podcast fresh?
Dude,
Woo!
that music video though for Men in Black. Here come the Men in Black. Dude,
You-
great.
I remember I had Men in Black on VHS, and after
Mhm.
the movie, that music video would play.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
watching that.
Oh, yeah.
Watch that movie all the time, and just that music video. So unless I see that music video right after the movie, it doesn't feel like I've seen the whole movie.
Now just bounce with me, just bounce with me, just bounce with me, just bounce. Now slide, slide, slide.
You guys remember when Will
slide.
Smith was the thing?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I
glory
texted
days.
I texted my mom to see if that picture was hanging up somewhere because I feel like I remember seeing the picture of me with my newborn brother in my Men in Black outfit in our hallway in one of those like collage frames from childhood. She says it's not in the hallway, so maybe it's at a relative's house.
Jasmine,
I
we
don't
don't
know.
have a hallway. Whoa!
No, we do. But no, that's a lie. That picture will not be up for sale. But if
Ooh.
I happen to come across it, it'll just go up for free on my Instagram.
Ooh.
All right.
We should make it the official flag of Ohio.
There we go.
No,
Yeah.
thank you. No, thank you at all.
Official flag.
Yeah.
Dang, dude, you would be a superstar.
Superstar.
But
Drop it
since
on
I,
the ground, you gotta burn it.
since I mentioned it though, you can follow me on Instagram at Jasmine Maywith. That's JasmineMaewith. Name is the same on Twitter as well. Would you guys like to share your handles as well?
Yeah, I'm Alex Daikaiju. If you want to find me on Instagram or Twitter, you can find me at Alex Daikaiju, Daikaiju. And what about you, fella?
You can find me at the Eli Watson
Oh,
on both Twitter and Instagram if you feel so inclined. What I meant to say is that you can follow me at the official Cryptid Campfire Instagram at Cryptid Campfire. I run that. So if you DM me, you're DMing me. If you DM us, you DM me.
whoa!
That's the way, the chain of command.
Informative.
Yeah, so
Ah.
if you have any secrets or you like really want to crap on Eli, message one of us separately. So no, I'm just kidding.
Whoa!
Just kidding.
Yeah, no,
Eli's
s-
great.
No, please send that to me.
Yeah.
We'll see how long you last.
Yeah. Send us your Fortnite scores to Cryptid Campfire Instagram.
All right.
What about you, baby
You can
boy?
find me at on Instagram at Myers Stefan, and that's the only social media I got. Please don't go on my Facebook.
Okay.
Just kidding.
And we are.
Wha-
Cryptid.
Oh,
Or what?
What
Aren't we talking about our Patreon?
Well,
that what
I
we're
figure
doing?
we could tell the people who we are, where to find the official social media, and that'll
Okay.
lead into the Patreon.
Okay. All right.
And we are
Hands in.
Cryptid
Campfire.
I didn't know we're doing that at the end now too. We did
We-
that at the beginning,
we-
but you kind of spurred that
we're,
on us.
We're switching it up. We've been in
Bear
space
with
for
us.
8-9 weeks. The plastic fire has been going left and right. The atmosphere is getting weird up here. But if you want to find Cryptid Campfire, we have the official Instagram that Eli mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
We also have the official Twitter, which Eli, me, and Jasmine all run at some point.
Yeah.
And you can email us at cryptidcampfirepodcast@gmail.com. We have the official website.
Cryptidcampfire.com.
Where you can get your official T-shirt.
Yeah, man.
At cryptidcampfire.com.
Yeah.
Why did I say that twice?
And surprise, I know we mentioned it a few times, but it's still kind of exciting. We got a Patreon. Woohoo!
So if you join our $5 tier, the Creepy Camper tier, you get episodes early on Sundays instead of Tuesdays, and you also get access to exclusive bonus episodes of Cryptid Campfire.
Too hot for TV.
What? And that's about it.
I think
Cool.
that's it.
So thank you for joining us. Next time we will see you.
Oh, we're coming for you.
I love how he said that, and he immediately pulled away from the mic and cracked himself up. He was laughing so hard just now. But thank you for listening, guys. It's been a fun time. I think this episode was really fun.
Yeah.
I liked talking about some of our favorite movies and shows, and I hope that you guys enjoyed listening to it as well.
Yeah, we had fun. We hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll probably see you next week with something weirder and wackier.
Bye.